What's going on, guys? Welcome to another live stream session with your boy Phrankleen. If you can hear me, hit the like button. Um, I'm meant to be joined by a guest today to discuss this topic. It's a very, very important topic. So hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. What's going on, Western Goddess? What's going on, people? I'm meant to be joined by a guest. So I'm waiting for her to, but in the meantime, we'll we'll crack on. If you can see me, you can hear me, hit the like button. So I'm meant to be joined by what's he called now? Yuande. So but she has not signed into the studio yet. We'll see how that happens. But in the meantime, I'm going to crack on. And if any one of you wants to join the conversation at some point, I'll let you in. Okay. Let me just have a quick check. If you can see me. Okay. Right. So I've just seen a message from you, and she will join us at about 5:15. Okay. Right. She'll join us at about 5:15. So, but in the meantime, let's crack on. Let's carry on talking. As soon as she joins us, I'll add. Okay. Hit the subscribe button, and if you have, hit that little bell button and select all, so you can get my latest updates on live streams and my uploads. All right. Right. So these topic actually stems from last night. I was online, and interestingly, you and herself was on Instagram having a chat with a guy. I couldn't see his face, and these sort of conversation came up, and I've been aware of this for a long time. It's a big deal within our communities and stuff, which affects us. Okay, so I think it's very important that we have a chat, um, we have a discussion, and I'm going to share my views. I'm sure Yoanda's got things to say as well when she joins us, and I would love to get people to come on and tell me their views as well. Right. So as diasporans and stuff, life abroad, particularly for us Africans, people come here based on different backgrounds and stuff, but long and short is you find yourself living abroad, and for most people who have actually done quite a lot of growing up in Africa, whatever part of Africa you've come from, you're faced with your cultural shock, what I call cultural shock in the system. But say, for example, I live here in the UK, and it's always that cycle of wanting to blend in, wanting to get on the career ladder, wanting to get a job, wanting to start family, adjust your status, the classic immigrant sort of template in terms of navigating through the system. Now, one of the things that's really common in our society is when when people who live here, who have come from abroad, Africa, and then we get into the system and people are trying to get jobs. I must acknowledge that I am thoroughly aware that the system is designed to sort of work against us. It's not catered to the interest of immigrants or your cultural background or where you're coming from and stuff. So we have to pretty much bring our culture, whatever it is, you bring it with you here. And usually the system is not accommodating. They're tolerant. and but they're not. The system doesn't exactly have a regard for, that African background or African culture. Now, it's very common within our communities where people would, when they talk about career, for example, so your name is Babatunde or whatever tongue twisting type of name you might have. And most of the time, African names, our names from Africa, for example, I'll say Nigeria, there's always a meaning behind it. There's always an in-depth meaning. It carries weight. You don't just get named Wood. You don't just get named pillow or pillowcase, or But having said that, some of us are known to have English name and stuff. So, for example, my first African name is Yoruba name is Oyedeji, and my middle name is given to me by my pops when I was a baby. Phrankleen, and I'm also known as Adetokunbo, which is a very common name in African setting when you were born abroad and stuff. I was born overseas. I was born in France, so that's like Adetokunbo is like a name that within the Yoruba African setting, it's a very common name, which signifies that you were born overseas. But that aside, so my actual Yoruba name is Oyedeji, which is my first name. It's the same thing on my passport and my personal documents. Now, I've lived abroad. I've lived in the UK for donkey. Hey, before I crack on, if you can see me, you can hear me, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you want to super chat, you want to support the channel. A gentleman emailed me this morning, Phrankleen, how can I support you? If you want to support the channel, you can super chat and support monetarily whilst we're on the live stream. You can look in the description. You can either join my Patreon for a minimum of $5 a month or $10 a month. Okay, that goes a long way. Or if you want to do a one-off support, there's a link to my PayPal. You can support. Thank you. Hit the like button. So, as I was saying, I've lived here donkey years of my life, and never for once have I tried to downplay, my name or felt the need. If anything, it irks me. It drives me up the wall when somebody wants me to play down who I am, or kind of like tone down or remove a part of me to cater to them. Now, let's talk about our general African diasporan community. Now, so many people would particularly when you talk about career, they will say to you about, stuff about, in order to get your foot through the door or be able to, that acceptance. They say for the purposes of acceptance, for the purposes of, validation. And, so you can move up and all that. And I've had these arguments with people in the past that if you have, now people change their names for various other reasons. It might be you decide to do away with your family name for some other personal reasons. For some people, maybe because they've come out of a divorce or whatever, they want to have a fresh identity for whatever reasons. I get that. But when people say, just so I can move up the career ladder, even if I call myself Mr. Phrankleen Smithkleen, right? And I sound very British over the phone, very articulate, and say I had a telephone interview and the interviewer sort of liked my vibe, I've managed to convince them at the stage one of the interview, oh, Mr. Smithkleen, would you like to come in for a level 2 or stage 2, job interview for a face-to-face and stuff? The fact is, as soon as I walk through them doors, they can see me that I'm a black man. There's nothing I can do about that. So if somebody's going to have prejudice towards you, if they're going to discriminate or prevent you from getting the job or from progressing, they'll do it anyway. If I name myself Mr. Charles Edward, Mr. Phrankleen Williamson, however, much you try to tweak that name, the fact is that name, as far as I'm concerned, is not going to, it can only go so far. Maybe over the phone, hey, good morning, Good morning. This is Mr. Smith speaking. Oh, Mr. Peterson speaking. Oh, good morning, Mr. Peterson. How can I help you? Oh, yeah. Blah 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 blah. Oh, great, fantastic. Mr. Peterson, would you like to come in for an interview for a face-to-face meeting on so day at so time? Of course. Thank you very much. Bloody marvelous. Right. I'll see you then. Thank you. Bye bye. Cheerio. Click click. You put down the phone. When I show up, oh hi. Oh yeah. Phrankleen Smithklin. They can see you from miles away. That's a black dude. So, what guarantees does that really give? And the point is, more and more of our people, this guy was having a chat with you and last night on Instagram, and I was deeply infuriated. So, it was heavy on my mind. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to bring this to the YouTube platform and have a chat with people. I think the best thing you can do for yourself as a black man or as a black woman on this side of the world is to uphold who you really are and not tone down. Yewande, where are you, man? Is that Yewande? Where are you? You were meant to join, because I'm looking at you in the chat, man. You were meant to join in. What's going on? Anyway, let me see. So, anyway, let's crack on. So my own submission is my own submission is the best thing you can do to yourself in the West is to I'll add you in a moment, just give me a second. To uphold your cultural background, to stand firmly and not bend your names. People talk about it gives you more opportunity, it's a diverse society. No, if your name is Shangodeyi, except if I can understand you have the right to change your name. If you don't like the fact that they named you Shangodeyi, which is some kind of like weirdness to the name, and you really don't like that name and you want to adopt another name, purely it's the premise behind the change of the name, right? And you think, okay, you know what, I don't like that name, Shangodeyi. I don't like the ring to it. Or maybe there's some kind of sinister story behind that name, then fair enough. You can change it. But if you have to change it so that you can be accepted within the Western community, it's the same thing that's happening to our black women. But before I go in that direction, let me add you, Andy. What's up?
Hello, good afternoon.
What happened to you?
Sorry, I just got
Oh,
caught
wait, you said quarter past. You're here now.
Yeah, I had an interview with work, etc. So.
All right, cool. So, you can hear me, banging on already. So, yeah. I want, first of all, so, what do you think? I want you to talk a bit, and then we'll carry on bouncing off each other. What do you think?
I agree with you. I believe that more than we should, we always try to make things easier for us to be perceived as, I don't know, I don't even want to say positive because I already believe that that's what we are, but there's always this need for us to feel like we need to be more accommodating for white people, so to speak. So when it comes to stuff like names, I've met a lot of people whose name would be like Jade Sola, and they'll say, oh no, my name is Jade, or like there's or Desiree, and then you call them Desire. We've always been taught that it's better for us to make it's to make things easier for them, so to speak. But then it's not it's never been done the other way around, to where we have to tell them, okay, this is what I was named, and don't call me otherwise, because they would actually it's almost to where now they would actually tell you, oh, can I just call you Y instead? Why do I have to say you one day? Can I just call you Y instead? And then you have to say no, but then you're the rude one when you say no, because they've sort of given you, or they've told you, okay, well, I don't know how to pronounce your name, let me make it easier for me, and then you're saying no. I remember a few years ago when I don't know if you remember Chimamanda, when she went on an interview, and then the lady was like, oh, can I call you Amanda instead? And then she asked the lady, like, why would you even suggest calling me that? No, my name is not Amanda, my name is Chimamanda, and you should pronounce it. And I remember how much of a raucous that caused, because even black people were like, oh, how do you expect a woman to pronounce Chimamanda? Like, she doesn't know what it is, she doesn't know what it means. So it's expected of you to just accept simply because she doesn't know how to pronounce your name. So it just goes to show you how much we have been told that we have to make life easier for people, especially when it comes to our name, our culture, our identity, etc. It's the same thing to do with black hair as well. You know, when black women feel like they have to wear straight hair because it just makes
Absolutely.
them, you know, it just makes them more approachable, so to speak. Because if you go to your workplace, especially in very professional settings, if you go to your workplace with afro hair, your manager might tell you, oh, you know, you need to your appearance is not, it's not, you know, it's not nice. You should, they wouldn't say nice, of course, but then they would say it in such a way where you feel like you need to change something about yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've just been told and we've been brought up to think we're always the ones who have to make these changes to make ourselves more, you know, to make things more accommodating for them.
And also, it's it's basically, as far as I'm concerned, it's a cultural whitewash.
Yeah, I agree.
Cultural white, because you know, one thing. If there is one thing I've learned from living in England for donkey years, and I've got to give it to these people. I mean, these are the same people that went around the world and invaded so many countries uninvited, right?
Yeah.
They, there is a way that they do things. Like they can say, if you're not good, this is why if you're not good with comprehension, right? If you're
Mm.
dealing with particularly an English person, I'll say now, and I'm just being honest, they have ways of, you know, wanting you to
To be the
change,
one to change. Yeah, exactly.
and they would say it in a way that reels you in, because we, like Africans, black folks, the way we wear our emotions on our sleeves. We are
Mm-hmm.
very 0 to 60 very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We are very animated, like,
Mm-hmm.
like amongst ourselves. You know, we are
Yeah.
very quick to bang bang bang. And
Mm-hmm.
you hear somebody, oh, do you mind, like, oh, do you mind just, just, so somebody told me something, that she was at work and her manager just said, do you mind just putting down just like a shortened version of your name on the, on the agenda for the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make it easy for everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just so, I mean, just a 3 letter from that very lengthy
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
To be all right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. If you
I heard that
are
a
very,
lot. Yeah. Yeah.
and
I've met a lot of people who would say, "Oh, can I call you Wendy instead?" You know,
Wendy
it's
Vowel.
no, because it's because the thing is they're trying to make it seem like they're not trying to go too far from what you've presented, but then what you've presented is too complicated. So they're sort of
Exactly.
meeting you halfway by saying, okay, well, your name is here one day. Let me just change the A and the E to E and Y to just make it more pronounced. Because Wendy is an English name. So to them, it's like, okay, well, I'm inviting you to be a part of who I am. And, it's sort of a favor, so to speak. Like, oh, can I call
You
you
see,
Wendy
you see,
instead?
you see what I'm saying? So without, what I was trying to say earlier is, without using certain direct words,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much telling you that
Mm-hmm.
I find your name, whatever that means, as a bit of an irritant. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to
It's too
bother with that.
complicated. Yeah.
I want you to conform to
Mm-hmm.
my ways.
Yeah.
This is okay, whatever. I remember years ago, right? I used to work for the NHS, and this was in Leeds. And I would never forget, man. Me, because by nature, I'm a firebrand, man. Thick bull crap. And I remember this guy who was a senior project manager, full of himself. And my surname is Awodia, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he just said, right, I'll tell you what, pal.
Mm.
In the next project meeting, just put your name down as Dia, right?
Mm.
DIYA. Just keep it
Mm-hmm.
simple. So
Mm-hmm.
this was an open plan office. It was early in the morning. I just made a cup of tea, still switching on my computer. He just said, just put Dia, just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It's just a bit, do you know what I
It's
mean?
easier.
And then he carried on typing. So I got out of my where I was sat and I said, sorry, excuse me, David, why do you want me to cut my name in half?
Mm-hmm.
And It's just the fact that the way you're animated, your expression, I find it utterly disrespectful that you would sit down and put fork and knife into my name and talk to me in a condescending manner
And
in an open.
dissect it, yeah.
So the guy was like, hmm? So I
Yeah,
said,
because they don't expect you to question them. It's almost like they're telling you. They're not really telling you. It's more like this is what it's going to be. But they come in such a light approach that they're not really expecting you to come with a rebuttal. So when you then say why, then you're the one who's wrong because now you're questioning what they're telling you.
I'll tell you what I did. So I said, so what you're effectively doing is you're tearing down my name in an open plan office. So you're sending indirectly or directly sending message to your white counterparts that have sat across in the office. You're telling them that it's okay to make a mockery of my name. If you have a problem with me in that regard, maybe you shouldn't even be on the project team. I'm telling you, this is a dude. He sits in the project. He's managing about 5 projects. This guy's earlobes went red. I don't understand why he got angry. That's my name. So I'm supposed to keep quiet. But because I know how to play their games, right? I didn't go back to my seat. I just, boom, I took my swipe card, boom, straight, 3rd floor, HR. I went straight to the HR and tapped on the door. They let me in. Hi, how can I help you? Said, I'd like to make a formal complaint, please. So the lady was like, well, which department? And I told her straight, I'd like to speak to somebody right now. I want it documented. And as soon as you say you want it documented, they start to ask me who is involved.
Something where, yeah.
Have it documented. So they asked me to come in. The lady pulled out documents, pen and paper. Can I have your name, please? I wrote her name down. There's another guy. And I told them straight exactly what I told you what happened. And there was silence. And the lady said, right, can I temporarily suspend the meeting? And we'll have to pull in Dave. And they try to put, HR, their job is to try to diffuse and crush.
Yeah, exactly. Not take it further.
The guy was looking at me, and he thought, okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to need 4 to 5 days to investigate and have a chat with Dave, and we'll call you in a week's time. I said, no. If you don't take my complaint, I'm going to go to floor 5 and go speak.
Yeah.
So the guy was like, okay. There's no need for that.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah. So they asked me to go back down. So I said, no, I'm going to wait in the corridor. I want to see Dave walk upstairs into this office. I'll wait. You speak to Dave, then you call me back in. Yeah. So I sat there. They're looking at me like, really, this dude? And then he came upstairs. I heard everything that they said to him. Guess what? Dude denied.
Exactly.
He was like, maybe Phrankleen had. He actually said maybe I had a bit of a stressful weekend. It was a Monday morning, right? He said maybe I need a day off to get a bit more rest. I'm stressed. I'm stressed. So they then called me back in and tried to play off like, it might have been you misinterpreted. Dave is one of the best assets we've got here. And then, Dave is not. Letter R came out. It's not racist. Blah 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 blah. So I kept quiet. I kept my cool, even though I was raging. And I told them, tell him that my name must not appear in any project documents. Cut into half. If he wants me to teach him how to pronounce my surname, I'll give him free lessons.
Welcome to do so, yeah.
I worked in that organization for the next 6 months or so before moving on. The guy, till I left, he never said good morning to me again. He would avoid me in project meetings when I'm talking. He wouldn't say a word. He would just nod and nod. He avoided me. He was a senior project. But then, like you say, they try to play it out as like, I've blown it out of proportion. It's nothing. And in fact, I remember back then having a conversation with a Nigerian brother who was older than me then. And hand on my heart, you know what the guy said to me? The guy said, guy, just let them use whatever they want to use. Don't make a about it. It's nothing. You're in the West. It should be normal. And I said, wow. And he was trying to put me down.
Some people don't see it as a big deal. They just believe that some people have bought into that idea that, you just do what they want you to do. it's easier. Some
Take
people
take
don't understand.
take Asians for example. I was trying to say that last night. If somebody's name is Akbar or Muhammad or whatever, however twisted their name is, they
Mm,
don't play with their
mm,
culture. They're
mm-hmm,
not going to tell you that my name is Ranga Nathan or whatever, however tongue twisted. They will tell you
mm-hmm.
that's my name,
You need to, yeah.
and they expect you to learn how to pronounce it. I've
Mm-hmm,
never seen or met an Asian person or
mm.
Pakistani or Bangladeshi person here in the UK where they would give you like a
A
toned down version
shortened
of
version,
their name,
yeah, yeah,
make
yeah.
you happy. Never.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And I don't understand why black folks, you know, the worst is it's bad enough that we live in a system that tolerates us. The
mm,
worst is when you have black people accepting it,
mm,
adopting it, and saying, oh, you know what? I've got to twist my name. I've got to reduce myself in order to be
mm,
validated, in order for these people to open. This is what I was trying to say yesterday. If I
mm-hmm,
say my name is Mr. Phrankleen Peterson, and I
mm,
talk so smoothly on the phone, I sound very British and all that stuff. And I say, oh, Franklin, we'd like to meet you at level 2 of this job interview.
mm-hmm.
I would like you to meet the directors and stuff. As soon as I walk through the door, they can see me though. I'm a black dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what the guy was saying yesterday is that at least he gets him through the door, and then eventually he would at least be able to present himself. He would be given that opportunity rather than just being written off on paper, which I get. But just because they didn't see you in reality doesn't mean that all that prejudice is going to take the back seat. You're still just going to be judged as harsh as they would have, even if they never met you. So
Right.
I get where he's coming from, but one thing I would like to point out is the
Go on.
importance of names to us as Nigerians. Like my name now means Yewande. I was
Yeah.
named after my great grandmother who died before I was born. I've
Right.
never really met like an English person who has the equivalent. Do you get what I mean? So as far as our names, it's kind of like Oluwatobi, Oluwaseyi, Ayomide. It means something to us. It's almost intrinsic to our identity. So they don't, because they don't necessarily have that in their culture, they don't
Right.
understand why it's so important to us. Because if you meet someone now called Katie or Lucy and you ask them what their name means, if you're lucky enough to actually get a response, because they will look at you weird, like, why are you asking the meaning of my name? If you're lucky
Yeah.
enough to get a response, then it will probably mean something like, oh, clarity or love, and they don't necessarily think that their name has anything to do with how they live their lives. But we
Nah.
we, we believe that, okay, the reason that my mom named me Ayomide is because she felt really happy when she had me. So we hold on to meanings more than they do, which is why they always have that response of, oh, why can't I just call you Ayo instead, or why can't I just call you this, or why can't, or that's when they make up stuff and be like, oh, can I just call you Wendy?
Yeah.
They
And
don't
also,
understand the importance of the
yeah,
name. They just
in
don't get
addition
it.
to what you're saying, I also want to say this, it goes with what we're talking about. It's the same thing with, you know, our women. Black women have amazing hair. The whole colorism, the whole thing about, look, let me say this as a black man, as a dude. It drives me nuts. Look, I am not sat here saying I want to tell women, how to wear their looks and stuff. I respect that. But the whole idea of you have to straighten your hair, we have nappy hair. The black person's hair texture is different. But when people have to say, oh, I have to do my hair a certain way, oh, because I work in a corporate environment, oh, that's how they want it. That's discrimination. If I'm looking at you, I mean, it's not like you showed up at work with weed in your mouth, all gangster and stuff, but they want you to have your hair in a certain way because they think there was a sister that I met the other day, very Pan-Africanist, right? She watches my channel, but doesn't really do much commenting. And she's got afro, really, really nice hair, really lovely ball of afro like this, beautiful. And she was telling me, she used to work in a corporate environment, Canary Wharf in London and stuff. And she told me about
What
what
she went
black,
through.
oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Frankly, I could write 5 volumes of books about this. She said,
Mm-hmm.
so many black women were broken down, destroyed, reduced to nothing, all
Mm-hmm.
because they want to keep jobs, they want to move up in ranks, and
And let's be honest, let's take it, let's bring it back home.
right.
There are certain type of black men that would approach you with afro hair that would,
Mm,
and there are certain types of men that would approach you when you have a weave on. It's like an impression, okay?
mm.
Even if we start to talk about the professional settings, we can even talk about you having an afro. You will meet some men who will tell you that, oh, why don't you have a weave, or why you're not doing your hair like the other girls. Because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just genuinely they believe that you having long hair like the people they see on TV is just the way forward. They don't understand that it's okay to have hair like this. They just
Let
they
me
they,
let me
they
let me,
see
let
this
me
as just undone hair.
yeah, let me add this person. I'm not taking you up. Just stay right there. We'll hear this. TJ Alonga. Hi.
Hi, Phrankleen. How are you? Hi, Yewande. I love when Phrankleen brings you on.
Thank you so much.
But
Talk to us.
Phrankleen, I just wanted to give 2 points concerning the name
Okay.
issue. I
Yeah.
think you're very correct as far as like we come to this country. Some of us I guess we're using the excuse of wanting to assimilate. We
Mm-hmm.
pick a more English version of our name. Some of us, like some people have mentioned in the chat, have said they don't necessarily like their names, so they just change it. You can name or give yourself whatever you want. I think the issue
Mm,
now becomes when somebody wants to change it. Like I've had that issue as well. My name, my first name actually is Yewande as well. But to be honest with you, growing up, I never liked that name. So when I first came to the US, I just went with my middle name, Teju. Teju is just better for me. I prefer it. Even my parents call me Teju now. No one calls me Yewande. The issue now becomes if somebody else now wants to change you. I had a lady, actually even a black lady, tell me, oh, I can't pronounce that. Can I just call you Mary? I'm like, excuse me? What do you mean, Mary? I said, would you like it if I just call you Shannon? Is that your name? So you're right. I think we also have to take that stand and say, you know what, this is my name. This is what I want to do. If you don't know how to pronounce it, I will teach you. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that hard. There's some German names that I can't pronounce. There's some Polish names that I can't pronounce. But guess what? If I can even go out of my way and even try, at least I'm even making an attempt. The
yeah.
second point I wanted to mention about was the weave issue. If you think about it, I'm not even sure if it's the world or just in the US alone, it's a $10 billion industry.
Thank
Think
you.
about that.
Thank you.
So we are saying, are we telling ourselves that our hair isn't quote unquote professional enough to wear to the office? I've been a natural for about 19 years now. Never, in those 19 years, I've never relaxed my hair. Never. I like my hair natural. Some of us, yes, some of us don't. But if you think about it, frankly, you always make a very good point of we are keeping that money that we are spending on weave. We are financing the Korean markets.
Yes, their
Those are
economy.
the people
Yes.
that will use that money and train their children. If you think
And the
about it, you
Indian
walk into
market as
these
well.
stores, they're all owned by Asians.
Mm-hmm.
All owned by
Mhm.
Asians. So even if we even want to take that step and say, okay, let's bring that business into our own community, guess what? Nobody will enter those stores. We
Mm-hmm.
prefer to go to the Asian stores.
Mm.
We have to start teaching our children, especially as women, how to care for our natural hair. I won't lie to you. Immediately I hit 7, my mom told me relax on my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Because she didn't know what to do with it.
Yes, yes.
I have a 2-year-old right now. I'm already teaching her how to love her hair, how to care for her hair. And that's what, as parents, we should instill in our kids. When they're
Yes,
18, they can go and do whatever they want. But
absolutely.
let us take that step. Let us
Ingrain
take
it
that
in
step
them.
and not use the
Absolutely.
excuse of, oh, I don't know how to care for my hair. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. It's easier to just put a perm in it, or it's easier to just wear a weave, or it's easier to just do this. Thank you guys so much. I love you.
Thank
Oh, thank
We'll
you.
continue to support you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Let me add the next question. I like this. Hello.
Hi. Hi,
Hi.
Phrankleen.
Hiya.
Hi. I just wanted to say I love what you're doing, and I just have some points to make regarding the name thing. So, my middle name is Emma, and I realized that when I first came to Germany, I started with my name, which is my Igbo name, which is Ogechi, and sometimes when I
Ogechi.
go to the office, yeah, when, when I go to the office, I will see, someone is trying. I will know someone is trying to call me. One, from the expression on their faces, and two, from the way they are struggling. They are standing there and just struggling to say my name. And sometimes, if I'm in a rush, I will just say, "It's okay, I'm the one." Sometimes they laugh, sometimes they smile. So when I started working, I changed my name. I wanted to be called by the name Emma. So the thing is that most people will look at the plan. They will ask, "Is this your other names?" I'll say yes. "Can I call you your other names?" I'll say no. Just call me Emma. So you see, the next day, the person comes and say, "Hi, I know you're just trying to make things up. You can say the name. It's not that hard." But because sometimes I feel insulted or I get insulted, I will just say, "Hey, stick with Emma. Don't try, don't stress it. Just stick with Emma." So when it gets to my last name, you will see the person trying to make the same face, and then another person will join in and say, "Are you trying to call Emma's last name?" They said, "Yeah." "Oh, don't bother." I say, "Yes, don't bother, don't try it, don't pronounce it, don't say it out, just call me Emma." Because most of the time they can say it, but they pretend they can't say it. So for me, I think for me to walk out with my dignity, stick with the name Emma. Don't stress it, don't twist it, don't just try to do any other thing with it. So coming to the fact of the hair, I have on a low cut. I have very short hair, and then you see people coming to say, "Oh, is that your real hair?" You say, "Yes." Okay. Why don't you put weave? I say, because I don't want to. Really? Wow, you are the first African person I've seen that doesn't have a weave on.
Which is a lie, by the way.
Oh wow.
As if that's a discussion. I'm saying, you see, this is the discussion I don't want to have. "Can I touch your hair?" I said, "No, don't touch it. Don't try it." That's actually one of my colleagues. I had to say, "If you touch my hair, I'll kill you. Don't try it. Don't think about it." Because one of them before then had touched my hair and before asking me, and then I turned my face. I'm like, "Did you just touch my hair?" You say, "Oh, sorry, I was playing." You do not play that type of play with me. You don't play with me. You don't talk about my hair, because I know sometimes, especially if you're the only person in the room and there are like 5, 6, 7 other people from other ethnicity there, and they're all of white background, and you are the only person, and all of a sudden you become the topic. And I've had people accuse me of being very sentimental when Africa is mentioned. Yeah, of course I am. When you ask me if I know someone from Kenya, of course I'm going to get offended, because Africa is a continent, actually the second largest in the whole world. So no, I don't know everybody from Nigeria. I don't know anybody from Kenya. I don't know anybody from Ethiopia. And most of the time when you get a patient, because in a medical field, when you get a patient from Ethiopia and somebody calls me, "Your brother is here." And I know my brother is not in Germany. My brother is not in Europe. And then I go there, I get there.
That's patronizing. That's patronizing.
Yeah.
Your brother is here.
Yeah, because they are trying to connect with this person with language and they can't. So the next person close to this person is me. And you get there, the person is Ethiopia. You are like, "I'm sorry, guys, I don't know this person. I don't." You say, "Oh, I think you're supposed to speak African." Hello, what is African? Sorry, I got carried away. So I just wanted to make those points. So thank you very much,
Thank you,
guys.
So so what? Before I add the next person, what do you? So do you have anything to
Yeah,
add to it?
definitely. I don't know if you follow the story. I think it was about a year or two ago about this South African girl who took her school to court because they would not let her wear her hair natural. And this was in South Africa. I'm just making these points to show you that even as women who want to wear their hair natural, there are obstacles that stop them from doing so. I think the U.S. Army only allowed people to start wearing their natural hair and their dreadlocks about 2 years ago as well. Before that, you couldn't have natural hair. You couldn't have like braids. You couldn't have dreadlocks. You had to look professional, and apparently that wasn't professional enough for them. I think the law only got changed a few years ago as well. And there was actually a law during slavery that stopped black women from showing their hair in public. They had to cover up. So
Yeah.
I'm just making all these points to let you know that there's always been obstacles when it comes to black women showing their hair. Now, of course, say for example, if you were a woman during slavery, you would cover your daughter's hair because that's, first of all, that's the law. It's against the law to show your own hair. So that daughter
Mm.
would just grow up knowing that, okay, there's something wrong about with my hair, and for me to be accepted, there's something I need to do. And then they will change the way their hair looks to fit into the society. And then when they do that, they will just continue that trend as they give birth as well. They will teach their children the very same thing. So I'm
Mm.
just saying this to say there are genuinely women out here who want to wear their hair more naturally, but the
Mm.
society is just not as welcoming as if you
I
had,
I
say, a
I
straight
I
weave and
I agree with you 100%. Like,
mm,
this is why I keep saying I mean, I think that's already a common knowledge. Everyone knows that we exist in a society that's evidently tolerant of us, right? They're
mm-hmm,
tolerating us. There's a difference between I'm tolerating you and I embrace you and respect who you are with your values and stuff like that.
mm-hmm,
As long as you're not doing anything to infringe on the fundamental human right of any other persons, or breaking the law and all that stuff. But in
yeah,
terms of you existing as
mm,
who you really
you
are,
are,
so,
yeah,
the system is designed in a way that, day by day it's just eroding. We allowing it. It's eroding what our culture, our identity is.
mm,
And we realize that it's more of even, I digress. When you look at the African food market, I mean, I'm a foodie, right? If you go on my
mm,
YouTube channel, I've got over 100 um Nigerian food recipes, right? And other
mm-hmm,
food from other parts of the world, right? Because I used to be a food channel before I rebranded it last year and
mm-hmm,
renamed it to Phrankleen. What am I trying to say? If I'm going to roll out a jollof rice recipe,
mm,
I am going to roll out a jollof rice recipe precisely as we cook it in Nigeria, right?
mm-hmm,
Now, if you go to an Indian restaurant,
yeah,
or you want to buy Indian takeaway, I mean, Indian curry is not my thing. That's not
mm-hmm,
a disrespect. I've tried it twice in the past. I just really didn't dig it. There are
mm,
some of maybe there are samosas or some extras that I might try that I like.
mm-hmm,
What I'm trying to say is, when you go to an Indian restaurant or any of those, and they are traditional food,
yeah,
they don't tone it down
yeah,
to appease any other
yeah,
community.
yeah,
This is my food. This is my food. It's either
mm,
you eat it or you keep it
mm,
moving.
mm,
It's not an offense. There is a trend now. If you look at like, there's a growing trend now whereby people are now sort of, like, if I don't know if you notice, it's like a trend now where the whole Nigerian food, particularly when you talk of jollof rice, there are people gravitating towards it now embracing the not the entirety of the Nigerian food,
mm,
but if you go to some of our popular Nigerian restaurants like 805 in London, like some of the
yeah,
big ones, you find
yeah,
white folks dining who eat our food.
yeah,
But I've also noticed some of these new Nigerian startups who
mm,
try to be cool
contemporary.
by trying to be,
Fusion. They call it fusion.
please, by
Yeah.
trying to be cool. I saw one the other day. It was in Covent Garden, and this guy, they're saying, oh, they made jollof rice. Ah, my God, I will pick Jamie Oliver over those people. That's how bad it was. They
Yeah.
called it jollof rice, and then they put some stuff in it, and basically you could see that they took our food,
Mm-hmm.
they diluted everything to
Mm-hmm.
cater to the white,
To
white colors. So,
yeah.
and my heart was broken. Like, dude, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
I can run the same food stand.
Yeah.
This is Nigerian jollof.
Yeah.
If there's a lot of chili in this particular stew, I'll let you know that, hey, my man, there is, like, for example, Kola, my friend who sells Nigerian suya in Peckham, right, on
Mm-hmm.
Chomet Road. There's something I like about the dude. He does Nigerian suya, he does asun and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you know how hot asun is? It's made with
Yeah.
goat meat.
Yeah.
I've I've been around him a couple of times where white folks pull up and they're curious. I'm like, oh, what's that? And he tells them, first of all, have you got any nut allergies? Because the suya has got,
Yeah.
the spices, peanuts and stuff. Oh, I haven't got any allergies. You want to try this? It's fiery. It will blow your tongue away. Do you want to try it? Yeah, okay. And he's, he makes it clear. And he is never going to say, oh, I'll take Nigerian suya, I'll remove XYZ from the spice just so that Mr. Williamson can find it acceptable. If you don't like it on your taste bud, go then. Keep it moving. So when I look at all these people, this guy, I challenged him at Covent Garden and I said, bro, I'm a Nigerian by roots, man. I said, bro, you and I know, no disrespect. This is not jollof rice, man. So what is this that you've made? And you're calling it a blend of blah, 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 fusion nonsense. And then he was trying to, but he realized that I wasn't backing down. You got to cater to the target market. I said, no, you're a sellout. Because I have never seen Pakistanis or Indians give you a totally different watered down version of their curry. They give you their curry. If it's spicy, they tell you this is hot. If you can eat it, eat it. And there are white folks that I've seen that will eat really spicy food. They might turn red in the face, but they're used to it.
Yeah. I think there's a balance there, to be completely honest with you. I feel like, especially when it comes to business as well, there's a delicate balance there. You have to meet people halfway. So with your friend you were talking about, it might make more business sense if he created Asun and then he made the original version and then he made watered down versions to meet, to feed the people and to make his money. I feel like the sellout comes when you completely eradicate the original and then you settle for these so-called palatable foods because that's what everybody wants to buy. I feel like once you're still able to keep the original, then you should be okay, because at the end of the day, if it's a business, you have to meet the need.
And so, I also think if we don't attack, this is what I really want to say. I'm going to bring somebody on now. Let me just say this. If we don't attack the root cause of these problems, because we know, like I said, it's a common knowledge. If we don't come together as a people, this is why I always say, if you don't attack the laws, the rules in place, I'll tell you this. Very many years ago, this is a long time ago, right? This was before they made SIA license. This was years ago. This was even before I finished uni. I even went to uni. I used to work for security companies. Back then, security jobs years ago then, they used to pay a lot of money. A lot of what it is now. Back then, we get paid like £22 an hour, £25 an hour, £26. This was before they made SIA license, right? And this is, I'm trying to make a point here. I remember, I'm not going to name the security company, right? They would send me to somewhere in central London and stuff to go work. And, I used to do a lot of night shift then. Then I decided at some point to do a bit of day shift. And I remember one day I was on site and one of the directors, watch this, one of the directors from that organization just came from upstairs and said, it was me at the reception and there were two white dudes, three of us. It's a big organization, it's a financial sector building. And it was like, oh, excuse me, can you come with me? I was like, oh, me? So I got up and I followed him, just pulled me outside the revolving door, just by the pavement outside. I tell you what, I've just called your control room and, I'm okay for you working here. It's just we need certain faces. We need certain faces in the reception area during office hours. Okay, so it's okay. You can work nights in the building, and I will never forget, man. My jaw was on the floor.
Yeah.
So the long and short is they don't want no black face during the day. I called the control room, and the dude was on the phone. Yeah, Phrankleen. I'll tell you what. Jump on the train. Come to the office. You get paid for the whole day. I was very angry. I was on the underground, and I'm like, wow. And then the guy, so you know what they tried to do? I got to the office. They're, oh, sit down, Phrankleen. Would you like a cup of tea? I kept quiet. And then the manager said they were going to give me double of my pay. Hourly rate, double of that for the whole day. So I used to be on £21 an hour on that site. So they said, oh, you know, £42 an hour for a 12-hour shift. That's a lot of money in your back pocket, Phrankleen. You know, it's just one of those things in life. I tell you what, we'll put you on night shift. Oh, all right, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wow. Then I was a lot younger. Now, if somebody tries that with me, I will rip that organization to shreds. I know what. But I was angry. I picked my bag, my lunch pack, and I just stormed out of the office. They paid me. But do you see? Later, I remember talking to one Nigerian brother. We used to work on the same side, and he said, yeah, you know, these people, you know, they don't want to
collect your money.
Thank you. They used to say to me, don't say nothing. Just, you know, just take the money, keep it moving. Keep it moving. Take it. Let them do X, Y, Z to you.
Exactly.
It's why Black people are today. It's a fact. So we're changing our names. We're eroding our culture. You are, just so I can move up the career ladder. Why don't we challenge the system? There was a case of a Rastafarian kid here in somewhere down in London the other time, but I've forgotten the name of the school. Do you know what's even funny? They used the boy's image for the school's website. They took his picture, they used a professional look, very nice, really clean dreadlocks, a young kid, about 12-year-old. Then they said, for you to carry on in the school, you need to cut your dreads. So you can imagine, and the boys from a Rastafarian, you know, background, the family came and stuff. The school actually threatened they were going to kick him out, and they lied that his mother was aggressive and intimidating. They didn't know she was recording the conversation. They lied to the police, and they did all sorts. In fact, there were Black folks online saying, just cut the boy's hair, you know, don't be the one stopping his education. I read a plethora of comments. Now, a woman jumped, there was a particular woman then called Juliet, jumped on that case and stuff and publicized it, right? Even this morning with Philip Schofield, you know, what's that Willoughby lady, right? They televised it. Holly Willoughby, right? It was on Sky and all that. As soon as there was negative publicity, right, the school backtracked and said, we do apologize. It was just a misunderstanding. And then they issued a lawsuit against the school, and the school quickly settled outside court, signed an NDA, and they shut it down. The same thing is still going on in the Black communities to other kids. I've heard of stories where parents have had to cut their children's dreads just to conform. They dare not say to a Jewish kid to remove their call that thing that Jewish kids put on. They dare not. Because why? They are very powerful. Who are you going to tell a Jewish kid to remove whatever is on their head?
It's interesting.
You're finished.
It's interesting you say a Jewish kid though, because chances are a Jewish kid will most likely go to a Jewish school.
Well, fair enough.
Very likely go to a Jewish. Of course, in situations where they don't and they go to mainstream schools, you wouldn't dare tell them that. That is very true.
Exactly. Let me put this guy on to join us. Hello.
Hey, brother Phrankleen.
How are you, sir? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I can.
Yeah. K-Do, my brother. Hello, sister.
Hello.
Yeah, so I heard everything about the hair situation and the names, but if we observe this, it's the true nature of our image that we represent ourselves from Africa as Africans. So yeah, it should be acceptable in society where we have our unique names and our unique culture and our hairstyles. And I don't support the whole fake hair and buying the products and all those things. I wish I can actually show you guys on camera how my hair is right now. I didn't put anything on it. So you you guys pretty much got the gist of that. So it's I love it, you know. As far as that people bashing us as with our names and our uniqueness, we should discard that. And uh, we see that most of the other people in this planet, they want to adopt our culture, and they want to, you know, they want to resemble us and imitate
Mhm.
everything that we're doing. It's a lot of
Right.
immolation out there.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, could I think I'm gonna show you guys, like, just see. Yeah, so yeah, I love our hair, and our follicles are so strong in strength, where we can actually have more energy, like spiritual energy. So it's
Mm.
something that I think a lot of people, if they don't have, they're not, similar to us in DNA and all these things. It seems like they want to bash us because they're probably just envious.
Yeah, I mean, we get that. We get that. The whole, cultural suppression and stuff. But what I have a problem with is the fact that we are aiding it. Do you see? We are justifying it. So it's we already get that. That's like a common knowledge. You live in an environment whereby it's like the global palaver going on right now in America right now, where you know exactly what I mean with Judge Floyd and stuff. This is a
Yeah, yeah,
system where the laws are written, to work against certain demographics and stuff. Do you see what I'm
yep,
saying? So it's the same
yes,
thing where with the names and stuff, and so the moment you become a conformist, whereby you have to bend over to be validated, to be accepted. And don't get me wrong, I understand people's frustrations. You're trying to get your daily bread, you're trying to get going with your career, and there's a roadblock and all these glass ceiling and stuff. It's mentally draining, psychologically damaging.
Mhm.
People want to their lives, which in itself is evil, right? I get it.
yes,
But
yes,
should the response then be to cave in, because the system is actually designed to weaken you psychologically and just impose on you, force you into their own jurisdiction and get you to accept their will. So when there is and this is why the black struggle is just like forever carrying on. It sort of weakens the arguments of the tiny number of us, let me say the small number of us that dare to stand up and say no, right? When you
Mhm.
have a plethora of black folks who conform, who accept these illegalities, who accept these ill treatments, who are quicker than the speed of light to change their names, oh, just so that
um,
Mr. Smith can pronounce my name properly. I better call myself Dave. I better shut in
Mhm.
my name. I better do away with my long African surname so that I can keep Dave happy, right? If
Mhm.
20 of us walk through the door and do that to cater to Dave's interest, and then I come along and I say no to Dave,
They know
and
they
20
will go.
and
and
then
20
and then your
are,
own people, and then your own people would turn against you just
Yeah.
because you have a different perspective. I know
Mhm.
exactly what you mean.
Mhm.
and
It's
that's
unacceptable.
and
It's
that's how
unacceptable.
and that's how they're able to carry on dividing and conquer the black race, the black gathering. That's exactly what I am saying. You can never tell me that because I recognize the struggle, it affects every one of us. I But we can never say because I want to get a job, I've got to tweak my name so that Mr. X can find me. Yolanda said something last night on our Instagram stream with a gentleman that she was having a chat with, which I love, which is, did you know that we're talking about ourselves and all the struggles? I have never seen where the white man changes their name or moves the goalpost or basically inflicts themselves with a degree of inconvenience to make the black man happy. Never.
Yeah,
They never.
never. We never see that. I'm even me over here, frankly. I'm in the U.S., so we never see these things. It never occur in history. We don't have the evidence of that, and it's sad that this became a reality in our society as African people. Um, it it's really hard. Like what, you know, as far as the solution to this, it's really really hard because they are people and they blend in. They're camouflaged with us. and it's so hard to tell like when they're going to snap on us, or something in their brain to just alter them in the way of thinking, or just being hypocrite basically.
Thank you, bro.
I will say something though about the whole hair situation.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a generational shift as far as us, because more than ever now, more people are embracing their natural hair. I feel like it's very important to point out, because
Right.
I remember me and my mom having this conversation, and she just told me, like, back in the days, it just was unknown. Like, you couldn't be the cool kid with the afro hair. The way to do it, yeah. I mean, on Sunday mornings before you go out, if there was a party, you had to straighten your hair. They just didn't. They weren't taught how to take care of their hair. They just didn't know what to do with natural hair. All the resources available now was not available before. I mean, now you can go on YouTube and learn what to do with your hair, how to style it and stuff like that, and that didn't exist before. So now more than ever, there have been more Black women who just choose to rock their natural hair because all these things are now available for us. So I'm just trying to say that there is progress on that front as far as Black women just saying, you know what, I'm going to do away with the weaves. I will say, by the way, I don't see anything wrong with a woman wearing a weave. I believe every woman should be able to express herself how she chooses. The problem is the mindset behind why you wear it, and not feeling like, oh, okay, I'm better when I present myself with straight hair rather than with natural hair. So if anybody wants to do what they want with their hair, they want to wear it, they want to cut it short, they want to keep their natural hair, or they want to relax it, that's absolutely fine. I should just point that out. Yeah, I don't want nobody coming for me and saying, oh, I just put that disclaimer out there really quickly.
What's up? Is it Teresa, right?
It's Teresa.
Teresa, right? Hi.
Hello. I'm African American. As you can hear my accent. So of course, I don't have the direct connection to Africa like I wish most of us African Americans do. But with the history of America, we understand what it's like to have to change what you phenotypically look like just to try to be able to exempt yourself from discrimination. Like we had a thing where we used to perm our hair. I mean, of course, we had no choice in our name change. That just came with slavery. But it's disheartening to hear that people who have direct connection with Africa, who have African parents, have to change their names just to try and get a job. And I hate that I have to say this, but I do feel like Black folks, we have a part in this.
Yeah,
I believe that slavery and colonization has this thing where we feel like we have to change a part of ourselves to get up to a level, and that is, if anything in proximity to whiteness is seen as good, or is seen as you making it. So slavery and colonization has had an effect on how we think what success is. And I do think that like Africans, we're the only people I've seen that don't put ourselves first economically and politically. Asians make sure they people eat first. Europeans make sure they people eat first. Non-Black Latinos make sure they people eat first. Africans are the only people I've seen where they want to make sure everybody eats. No other race is doing that. They make sure they people eat first, and then whoever else gets scrapes.
That's true.
Even still, in most Black countries you see, it's non-Black folks living better than the people who are natively there living. Go to Africa, Lebanese people, the white folks, the Indians, Chinese, they living better than most of the people in the countries. The Caribbean, same thing. Chinese, Indians, the little white majority, they still have all the wealth. The problem is that Africans do not put Africans first. And until we do, we're going to always be economically and socially at the bottom.
Wow. Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. I think it goes down to that idea of you being, the further you are away from being African, the more you are likely to have made it, so to speak. So it's what you were saying about, proximity to whiteness. The whiter you can be perceived, the better the chances of you making it. It's the same thing we had with the guy yesterday in the conversation saying, I would prefer to be called Jay because it gives me contracts. It's just that mentality.
It sounds like he's in pain, man.
yeah. I think it's an inferior complex, and he admitted it after a while that it really was.
Yeah, he did.
there's a degree of pain there, but then it just shows you how far people are willing to go to so-called make it. If it means stripping themselves of the identity of being African, then they are willing to do that.
Just
They
the
really
sound
are.
of just the sound of stripping yourself
Yeah.
African identity. I think is really. I'm fixated. I'm mentally fixated on the long-term adverse effect on us as
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Because people can argue now because of what you want now. Just look at we are helping the oppressors to normalize the evil.
Yeah.
So the more people fighting, the more people. So the number of people that are fighting against it reduces, right? And then they try to call people fighting against it. I say, oh, you lot are the cool ones. Like everyone else is accepting. You know, if you have a tongue twister of a name, so what? That's my name. I can help you to pronounce it. You know, if somebody is honest. But why would you send me to do away with my name?
Exactly. Do you know what? I will also say when going to school, one interesting thing is that I met a lot of Caribbean people who were bearing African names, Yoruba names. I went to a school with a guy called Kayode. Kayode is actually not Nigerian. His family is from Jamaica, and they just absolutely loved African culture. And I'm just saying it to say that there are people out there who are doing the opposite, who know that until they actually can identify themselves as Africans, that's the way forward for them as Black people. There are people who are doing what needs to be done. Let me put it that way. And of course, there are people who are just tired of, of the struggle, so to speak, and then they at this point they just giving up, and then they're willing to do whatever they feel is necessary to climb up that ladder. Unfortunately.
Nice. Let me bring this person on. Hello. This egg.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you.
Hi.
Yeah. You guys made some good points. Coming from Jamaica to America, I noticed, especially with the weave, we Black people are suffering from just the same thing, the same mental colonization. If you go to the lowest place in Jamaica, example, the marketplace, you see a woman standing in the hot sun with just this weave on her head. If you go in the professional workplace, as they call it, it's the same problem. So I think the only way that's going to change is for the woman to change it, not the mothers. Don't wear it around your daughter. Teach them to love their hair, and so
And I
forth.
think I think it also has to do with how men accept it as well. I've been spoken against by more Black men about my natural hair than non-Black men. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but if I wear my Afro hair as is now, I've never met a white man who's asking me why am I wearing my hair this way. But a Black man will tell me that it's probably because I can't afford a weave.
Ah, snap.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
That might be true, but no one's gonna change it but the woman, because they're the one who's wearing it. The only way it's gonna change is from the woman, in my opinion. Because in the 70s and 80s, you used to see Black men walking around with jerry curl. You watch those old American music videos, see them walking around with jerry curl and all that stuff. So Black women is gonna have to find a way, and we Black men are gonna have to support them, find a way to liberate themselves from that. So yeah, that's my contribution. And the name, I plan to change my name. Plan to change my name very soon.
Okay.
Yes. I like that.
I was going to say as well, like in addition to what you said, within our community, for example, when you look at all this, that's been around for ages, all these artists and stuff, like the colorism that you see, whereby there is this thing irritates me a lot. Light-skinned girls are better than dark-skinned girls. I've had numerous arguments with dudes whereby I really lost my voice box over this. This is nonsense. But I met a woman that told me something last year, just before December, and it shocked me. She's worked in the music industry, right, for donkey years. Jamaican woman in the early 50s. And she dropped something in my spirit that really shocked me. She said, you know, Phrankleen, what goes on in the back end of all this music beat, the filth that really goes on. So you don't see that in the front end. What you see is the artists, the so-called puppets, you know, dancing with girls and whatever on the film set. When they're done, cut, it's all over, they roll it out. So she said, at the pinnacle of affairs, decision making, the people that give out the record deals, 9 out of 10 times, it's the white folks, the white men.
Yeah, okay? Yeah, definitely.
So they have, when it comes to decision making, they're the ones with the financial powers and all the connections. So they're basically, that's why you see some of the your craziest rap artists, N-word, the sex and the drugs. They control them in the background.
Yeah.
They tell them the number of N-words put in those lyrics. They have these men live through these puppets. So they're the ones that make what's all that business decisions on how the music set should look like, the video, what direction things should go. So if they say we want 12 light-skinned girls in these music videos, we want just get a dark-skinned lady, put her at the back there. Now, what that does when they churn this out is it impresses that negative narrative on people's minds, and this is also what fuels this toxic idea of bleaching and damaging your skin, because it's been impressed on particularly women and also those men that bleach that, if I these chocolate color, or you're a shade or a couple of shades darker than me, or like the texture of like all this Sudanese and stuff, oh, you're not good enough. You're dripping with melanin. But unfortunately, these people don't see it like that. The society has been very toxic. And look at it. There's so years ago, there's been age-old cartoons about, oh, black people have thick lips.
There you go. I was going to mention that, yes.
But now it's a trend with people injecting their lips, wanting fuller lips, the cheekbones, and do you get what I'm saying? Now they're doing transplants. Meanwhile, African women are, gosh, they are blessed with
endowed.
African women don't even have to try with the donkey kong that they are walking around with. Now everybody and their mama who are not even black, they want
that
black women who are also going under the knife. The whole idea of you're not good enough. We decide. I've had this conversation severally, even with several females. This is why, you know, oh, I want to be. You hear some women as soon as they're talking about weight loss. And then I ask the question, what is that thing about that size 8? Why is it? I get it if you want to be 8. Your primary target should be, I want to be healthy. I said, but everybody is not designed by physique to be skinny. You can be voluptuous, you can be plus size and be healthy. You can be built and be gorgeous and be healthy. You don't have to be a size 8. It's all of these things. You're not good enough. You're not good enough, which the industry have, you know, they've impressed on our people's minds. And you find a lot of our, man, I'm sorry, man, I'm trying to choose my words carefully. When I walk on the road and or I look at even on YouTube, I see some of these weaves. I'm like, for God's sake, who put these weaves on your head? Because you see some black women, these things don't even suit you. Well, again, we live in a society where me as a dude, as a black man, I have to be careful with how I push my narrative, because people can misconstrue my and say, oh, you're a misogynist, you're trying to tell women how to live their life, so I just keep quiet and just watch them. But like you say, there's nothing wrong if you want to, you know, slap on weave on every now and then, that's fine, but embrace your natural hair. Embrace your natural looks. Why do you need to damage your skin to be accepted? I've heard a woman say to me, "Oh, Phrankleen, the industry that I work in, if you are too dark, you're not going to progress so far." And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a hairstylist, right? And I do have a lot of clients who will tell me, "Oh, Yolande, I'm gonna need to do a weave this month because I've got an interview." And then after I get the job, I'll come back for my braids. That's very normal. Well, if not, it shouldn't be, but that's the reality. I do have a lot of clients who tell me that because they know, and it is true. White people will perceive you in a better light if your hair is straight and you look like someone they feel they can relate to just due to familiarity of knowing that straight hair is for them. They would actually prefer you to have your hair. They would even tell you at work sometimes, "Oh, I like this straight hair better than what you had last week." And then you would just be like, "What do you mean what I had last week?" When in reality, what you had last week was what I have right now, which is your natural hair.
See, I'm looking at I'm looking at a comment here. This is what I have a problem with, and I respect the fact that everyone's got their opinion. This is the beauty of us having this chat. I don't expect everybody to, align with my submissions or your submissions, but I'm looking at a comment here. Look at this. I'm gonna pin it on the screen now. This person by the username E said, "That's called being smart."
That's what the same guy said yesterday. Remember that he's just playing a game and he's trying to find his way forward.
But you see, I get it, right? That people are doing what they have to do because they need that bread. But I cannot align with it mentally. That's called smartness. It's not.
Yeah, exactly, because how much do you have to change who you are to go up the ladder? Because effectively, what we're then telling ourselves is that if I am who I am, I don't necessarily deserve to be up there. I have to change to be able to find my way up, which is a lie. That's the problem
Exactly.
here. Like how far away from blackness do we have to be successful? That's what all this conversation boils down to.
Thank you. Let me bring this person on. Jen. Jen. Hello.
Hello? Yeah, hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I wanted to add some words on the hair issue, because
Okay.
since I've been in France for 4 years now, and I've been putting on wigs and stuff like that. People have always been saying, this hair looks nice on you, and it was this year that I finally realized that I've not been fair to myself,
Hmm.
because I've been covering my natural hair, like my hair, and I've been putting trash from where I don't even know where it came from in my hair, covering my beauty,
Hmm.
And now that I've putting on, I watched a video on YouTube that said you have to be who you are, naturally, you know, because being yourself will even chase people who are not supposed to be in your life. So
Mm-hmm.
when I removed when I started keeping my natural, I just shaved everything off the ones I had before, and then I started growing everything from afresh. And when I started going to dates with my natural hair, the guys they wouldn't even want to see me again, and I'll
There
be
you
like,
go.
oh, bye,
Are they black men? Sorry, are
bye.
they black
No,
men?
they're white men,
Oh, okay.
they will not want to see me again. I'll be like, okay, bye, ciao, ciao, And even when I came to France the first time, 2016, there was this trend that was going on that you must be skinny, for a white man to get married to you, because all my friends that was going out with them, all they were after was white men, white men, white men. Like I was like, it's not that you must marry a white man. That is not what matters. What matters is the personality of the person that you're
Mm,
getting married to. You
mm,
understand? But these people, they will tell you, you have to go to the gym, you have to lose weight. I said, if I'm losing weight, I'm losing weight for myself. I'm
mm,
not losing weight because I want to go to Monaco. I don't know if you guys know Monaco.
mm.
Of course.
I'm not losing weight to go to Monaco to look for a rich white man. Why can't I also and make
Your
money,
own, yeah.
my own money? You understand? And secondly, when I was looking for my papers, because I was asking for asylum, and all the Nigerian girls I saw, because I'm from Nigeria, all the Nigerian girls I saw, they were like, "Oh, get pregnant," because if you don't get pregnant and give birth to kids, it's gonna be difficult for you. You won't have any one as a single girl without husband, without no white man, no babies. I was like, "Yeah, I'm not ready for a baby now." The fact that I'm in a country that I don't know anybody, I don't have any family, that doesn't mean I have to be giving birth like ants. So I stood my ground, and by God's grace, I have my papers now. As a refugee for 10 years, I have my 10 years papers. I'm happy and I'm proud of myself. Every day, I
Yeah.
always tell people, I always show this as I always tell girls that I see that are still asking for asylum. I'm like, girl, keep yourself.
You
Don't
know
get
it.
pregnant.
Yeah.
Don't go and get married to anybody because of papers, because they won't respect you. Every day you feel guilty. They will tell you, because of me, that is why you have your paper. Because of me, that is why you did this. You will feel indebted to them for the rest of your life. That is not what you should be putting yourself through at this very young age. You're supposed to experience your life. And secondly, what I'm going to say about the Nigerian community here where I live is that they just create a community among themselves, like they're closed off. They come to Europe, but they're not experiencing the life in Europe. Like when you go to Marseille, I don't know if people know Marseille, but if you go to Marseille, you see the way they're living. It's as if they're still in Nigeria. I understand that you want to bring your culture from Africa, but sometimes you have to integrate and be open-minded to other people's culture without destroying the ones
You have.
you have as that you hold value to. You
Can I
understand?
just
There are
say,
some things you can add.
sorry to interrupt you, Jen. Let me just say something
Yeah.
quickly. You see, the word culture has been heavily bastardized in our community, right? You see, a lot of the
Yeah.
nonsense that culture is really not culture. So you have a bunch of dudes in a particular area.
Yes.
You
Smoking
have
weed and stuff like that.
crazy, drinking, smoking weed. You probably do frauds for a living. You're playing loud, crazy music. You're spraying money, crazy, acting in a madman, and then you say, "Oh yeah, we're
Yes.
Nigerians." Party. No, no,
They give us bad reputation. Sometimes
that's
I'm
not
ashamed.
culture.
I'm
That's
ashamed to
this is
be a Nigerian.
why the
Yeah.
people that are ignorant and know nothing about us really, they would look at those people and believe that's how
That's our
everybody
culture. Yeah.
Yes.
behaves.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
you see some Nigerian ladies, you are fighting over
Having
a boy,
babies everywhere.
or you bring your
Yeah.
friends, you're fighting in the middle of the road here in England over some community DICK. Let me not say that on YouTube because of
Yeah.
algorithm. And then you're throwing your wigs away and tearing each other's bra publicly, and then people are saying, "Oh, who are
That
those
is
people? Those are
disgrace.
Nigerians."
Like, I don't know how they
Oh,
do.
everybody
How
else
they do
does
it.
on the. Come on, man, that's not culture.
Yeah,
That's not
that's not the particular culture I'm talking about, because that is not culture. That is rubbish and bullshit, because they don't have self-respect, and they don't even have self-awareness, So I don't blame them, and they're not even open-minded to learn, because when you want to try to tell them, bro, this is not the way to go. They'll be like, they act as if you know everything. I beg more for, yeah, this one you just come Europe, they do as if you know everything past all those kind of words. When they throw it at you, you'll be like, okay, there you're in your ignorance. Me, I'm even trying to improve myself as well. So I'll do my
well
own.
done.
You understand?
Well done.
And secondly, there was this time that I was going for this civic. You guys talked about food and stuff like that, because I've been listening. There was this time when I had my paper. So there is a 4-day course that you have to pursue. It's called civic formation in France. And during that period of the course, they gave us food in the afternoon. And the restaurant that we went to, they did not say because we are Africans, they will give us African food. No, they gave us European food. If you like it, you eat. If you don't like it, you throw it away. It's none of their business. But the fact that they gave you food. But if it was in Nigeria, I'm sure that they would have given them different food, not African food. You
They'll
understand?
cater
And I
to their
said,
interest. Yeah.
yes, they will cater to your interest. And I'm like, why can't they do the same? To see that we Africans underestimate our value in the eyes of those people, and they don't even know our value. They don't even see our values, because we don't even see our value as well as individuals, you know. And what's it called? There was the time I got my papers, there's this Ivory Coast woman that I know. She have been here for 30 years, because those are the people who have been here. That's the people who I associate myself with, because they know better than I do. And this woman, she told me, young lady, now that you have your papers, never settle for a cleaning job. Don't let them trip you that is quick money. Don't ever settle for a cleaning job, because that is what they do in tricking people here. And she said that to me, and I was like, okay, fine, no problem. So when I started looking for a job, I took my CV, I went to an agency. I got to the place, there was this white girl. I gave her my CV. I told her I wanted to submit my CV here. And you know what she did? She told me, okay, she wrote an address and gave me the address of another agency and transferred me to that place, told me to go there. So I did not bother to go. After some months, I was in the bus, so I was going somewhere. So I saw the name of the agency that she gave me. And I saw that the agency that she gave me on the paper, the name of the agency that she gave me on the paper, the place was the agency was a cleaning agency. So because I was a black girl, young black girl.
Yeah.
Hello?
That
Gosh.
cut off. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let me see if I can add someone more. A couple of other people are waiting. Aisatu. Who is this? Hello? Hello?
Right, I'm having some connectivity issues, so let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear you.
yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. All right, great. So there's a slight delay. I'm trying to do this on the phone and it's sounding a bit dodgy. But I just wanted to start it off with, now, all my life, my earlier part of my life, I was always called Abiola. That was the name that was chosen in the family, right?
Right.
But then I noticed when I got to school, it was always Abiola, and it frustrated the living daylights out of me. But a part of me also wanted to have a name that was just more sort of like Anglo-centric. Like I just wanted a name that was like Rachel or Natalie and whatnot. And it wasn't necessarily like a sort of like, and this, I didn't think it was like me aspiring to be white, but I just thought, I'm in Britain, I should have a nice normal name. That was the word I would have used to describe it when I was younger, you know?
Yeah.
But then as I got older, I got to the point where my middle name, which is Aishatu, as you can see, is still the sort of like Arabic name Aisha. So I started calling myself Aisha because I thought Aisha's more acceptable. It's kind of like my name. It's not like I'm really selling out, but it's still fairly sort of like, I'm still sort of like compromising on it. And I went for that for quite some time, you know? I went for that for quite some time. And you call places to spell your name and they never ever spelt it the way, it was never AYI anything. And I think I probably got to about the age of maybe about 25. And I just decided, it probably has been brewing for some time, that I didn't want to have a false name. And my full name is Aishatu. Because my father, being a special man he was, didn't think Aisha was a good enough name. He had to make it the Yoruba version of the name Aisha. And I noticed that nobody noticed the difference. I was still me. No one thought, oh, your name Aishatu is so extra African, or no one ever like made a comment. But all these years, my whole life, I've given myself this sort of like complex that I've got this mega African name and everyone's going to think it's some bush Yoruba name and all of this that I made up for myself. So I think in the diaspora, there quite often can be like this fear that stuff that you've internalized and you've sort of like reinforced yourself or you've had it reinforced by your own community, as opposed to the sort of like typical view that, oh, the other are trying to oppress us and that's why we're having to change our name. Now, I guess I would say like, I appreciate and I think I'm lucky enough not to be one of the people who's, well, at least we don't know it in our family, that are sort of like descended from slaves. So it's a thing of, I have that connection direct to Africa. I have that connection direct to my heritage. And I've only started to settle into it. Because even though I started spelling my name as Aishatu, anytime someone would see my name, I'll see them choke. I see them sort of like hesitate. And then I'll go, oh, you can just call me Aisha. And I'll do that. And I only stopped perhaps in the last year and a half, like
That's
correcting
great.
people. I was just like, yes, it's Aishatu. And if you choke, I'll let you choke until
Yeah,
the name comes out your
exactly.
mouth.
That's it. That's
Because
it.
the reality is, it's sort of, it can be such a small thing, but it can be so effective in terms of sort of like stamping your identity. So that was something I wanted to mention in terms of people sort of like doing things to blend in. And I wish I could just give, like, there are some names that I guess are more difficult to sort of to try and blend with, but to be honest, it's never been necessary. I've been lucky enough in my life, like when I've gone for jobs or when I've gone to places, I never really quite developed the complex about going somewhere with my African, like with my afro or with my braids or whatever. I always made sure I just turned up as who I was, because I always had the confidence that if they're not willing to hire me like this,
Oh, we've lost you.
we wouldn't work so well together.
Okay.
If you get what I mean,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
if they're the longer,
And they don't
so
deserve
it is
your
one of those things.
expertise
Like,
if
I
they
do
don't,
take a
if they
point,
can't
like
see
from
it.
before Yohan did. Like, sometimes you just need to, yeah. Can you hear?
Oh, it's gone.
We lost you. Thank you, Aisha. Thank
Yes,
you.
that was
Take
amazing.
one more person, and then let me take. Hello.
Yeah, hello, how are you?
I'm all
Good,
right.
thank
You?
you.
Yeah, no, not too bad, too bad.
What do you think about the topic at hand? 2 minutes, bro. Let's go.
All right. Well, you know what? I think long-term strategy is probably better not to, formulate this idea of changing things. But at the same time, some people are trying to make it out, and there are glass ceilings in the way. So, for example, I've read from experience as well, is, when you have a European sounding name, sorry, British sounding specifically in this country, you are 66% more likely to get a job callback, even just the interview, than if you have a less British sounding name. Then if it's Chinese is next, and then the African is one of the kind of
Can I stop you very quickly?
Right.
You see that thing? When we quote stats, because I read this somewhere, we have to be careful. It's mental conditioning. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever stopped to consider that, when you said that, there's 66% chance, blah, 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 that you get called back. Who did that survey? Who compiled that data? Who's behind it? Have you ever stopped to think?
Right. I mean, it's going to be.
You said is wrong, you're lying, but who is behind that data that we're quoting? You and I could be having a chat now in a coffee shop and say, oh yeah, there's exactly 66% this and this, there's that, right? It's designed in a way to force the adoption. There's exactly 66% this and this. I can hear myself, maybe who I can hear myself with someone. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is it's designed in a way, it's mental conditioning, bro. I don't know if you agree with me. It's mental conditioning. Because when they give you this data, it's human nature. Very few people actually then go outside the box of that conventional reasoning and think, oh, hang on, I'm not buying into this, or why is this like that? Most people, 9 out of 10 times, we soak it up, just keep it moving. Oh, because there was a stats, the stats say, the data says this and this and this. All these things that you see. For example, when you come on YouTube, right? YouTube will tell you, oh, the algorithm is the one not showing your video. The algorithm this, the algorithm that. But don't forget who is behind the algorithm, the performances, the way that, look, if they want to suppress, I've been hit many times when we talk about controversial stuff, yeah? In less than an hour of you rolling out that video, when they know that video can easily get 10, 20, 30K views, 40K views, 100K views, that means more people see it, right? They would say to you, if I go complain to YouTube in the background, YouTube would say to me, oh, yeah, Mr. Phrankleen, oh, I can see you're a very good YouTuber. The algorithm, they will use this technical term to fob you off. But the truth is, it's a human being like you and I, that put together the algorithm. Does that make sense? And they can make that algorithm work against you and I. All they have to do is click buttons and suppress your accounts. So all of this data that you have a 66% chance of being called back if you have a this sounding name, bro. It's racist. Let's say it as it is.
Right.
Carry on talking.
Right. The issue here is for a common man, they don't have time or the emotional stability to, you know, pass through all those information and database.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the issue, right? So someone like me, I'm not going to change my name. I'm just going to leave it as it is, and, you know, throw my cards, make them land where they are, make sure that I'm the best in the field that I do, so that at least I'm always able to contend for myself. So even if there is racism and things, it doesn't really affect me that much personally. You know, for me, it was more when I was younger, during school time, whereby there's a lot of racism. You know, I do well in a class. It's somehow other people get promoted, I get demoted. It makes no sense. And instead of them apologizing, they make me take another test to prove myself twice. You know, that's the kind of stuff I recognize. And, you know, the only way I was able to overcome it is by making sure that I was above the system, not inside the system. And once I do get there, I think the ultimate long-term strategy is for us to be economically and financially free and literate enough that we can then help our people when they are in the position where they want to uplift themselves. Because ultimately, the system is not for us, and we know this. And we can keep trying to make it better, and we do. It has got slightly better each time, but it's still not where it should be. And I guess I do get where the sisters were also saying about the weave as well, is that you have this triple, you know, like a triple speech, whereby we say, okay, we want them to wear their natural hair. But then some of us give them negative feedback. Okay, your hair is nappy. You know, we say these things and we don't realize what kind of effect that they have in people. Because if you're going to say that you want to support people, then you should be consistent across every board and every situation. If you think the sister's hair could look nicer, if you put it in a slightly different style, you can say it in a way that is uplifting, empowering, but not just saying your hair is nappy. I've heard these things from people and it makes no sense. I've heard it more from Black people actually, but the white people have seen the way their minds change when they do look at you. But you see what? If our own people are supporting each other, then the opinions of those who are outside of us does not matter. So,
yes, sir.
Right. I'm speaking to all the Black men out there and also the sisters out there to just be ourselves, but also appreciate each other and keep supporting each other. These behaviors are seen also like the aunties. When a child is born, the light-skinned child's like, oh, that's such a beautiful baby. That has to stop, right? That cannot continue anymore. All this, you have good hair. There's no such thing as good hair the way we understand it, right?
I think it's, thank you, bro. I think it's foolishness when you hear things like a woman is gonna be size 8. Yo, I love me a plus size woman. What's up with that, man? There's a lot of flesh to grab. Don't worry. I love me a plus size woman. This is what I'm saying. I love the way you said this. I love it. You see, this is why I say, if you focus on say somebody wants to lose weight, for example, you know, or you're with a woman, right? That's the essence of being. It could be both ways. It's not gender specific, right? But if I'm putting on weight and stuff, and my partner says to me like, yo, you know, what's your sugar levels? Because diabetes is real. It's happening, right? There are health problems. You can have heart problems and stuff. And then my partner is talking to me from a loving point of view, like, yo, you know, cut down on the pizzas and the Chinese takeaways and stuff, you know, be careful, jump on your bike. And that's from a place of love. But if my partner starts saying, you don't look like David Beckham in bed, how am I down? You're going to fight. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm messing around, but you know, like what you're saying, particularly about I think particularly about the Black women, there is a lot of pressure. It's too much. And as you rightly said, my brother, I really love that. Within our community, the self-sabotage is too much. It's, for me personally, it drives me up the wall because it makes no sense. Like, if I'm seeing, like, what you got on now, her hair, what's wrong with that? Like, she's beautiful in her own regard, but then you then take it upon yourself. If I walk past her on the street and I look to her, she looks all right. But then you want to have an opinion of why you're not wearing weave on. Why? Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
it's
why?
mental. Honestly,
if you get if you get the mental tear down, even within your own community internally, and then you go out to the people that don't look like you, and it's like a triple, quadruple layers of attack, man. It's crazy.
Like how they say, Malcolm X said, the black woman is the least protected subsector of culture in the West. Now, this is a big problem. You see, when white women cry and they show their emotional aspects, people, the whole community, including us, we go there, are you okay? What's wrong? And we believe their oppression every moment, right? But when a black woman explains her multiple, there's misogyny, there's inbuilt misogyny, there's also inbuilt, so from other women, also from men, and also from black men and white. And then, the moment they try to defend themselves, because we don't, let's be honest, right? Because, maybe you could say it's men don't like to speak or something, but we need to overcome that because we need to see this, we need to be strategic about this, right? Maybe it's not our nature. When I say nature, I mean, I'm including nurture, just how we are, let's just say, put it there. Maybe it's not the way we are right now, but we need to evolve there, because if we don't protect each other, who's going to protect them? Yeah. Because I see all these movements when they, these new, I don't like talking about negative things too much, but these things happening on the news right now, and it's mostly black women on front protecting us, trying to do things. And why are we silent when it's happening to them? It just makes no sense, because this is what builds resentment within a lot of these black women. And obviously it's then reinforced with the past experiences and trauma that they faced when they were younger, being called blick. I've seen these boys sitting down on the little like houses, in UK, you have like little brick walls that they sit there. Some innocent black girls just walking out there, looking all beautiful, shiny like a golden, don't worry, ebony crest, and they're like, "Oh, hello, Blicky." What kind of nonsense is this? See, this we always kind of think, oh, okay, these women are angry and stuff. Some of them have been traumatized by us, and unless we overcome this and we actually learn, I'll be honest myself, I didn't engage in that negative behavior, but I'm not innocent, because I did buy into that whole culture of what was programmed from the media. I myself used to prefer this, kind of woman. At some point, I did. But after I learned about knowledge of self and I started to grow and develop, and you know what? It's not that I never found sisters good. No, that's not the issue. Sisters have always been on point. I'm not. Sisters have always been on point. The problem was the mental slavery, whereby I was conditioned to think that having a sister is not, you've not made it, right? To have the white man's daughter was more of a psychological thing, like I've achieved something. See, it's that, institutionalized, self-inflicted racism that has afflicted a lot of our minds. And the problem is a lot of men don't have people to teach them in order to overcome this. So we need the guys in the community who have kind of overcome this self-inflicted racialization to teach those of us who are still younger to be able to transcend this. If we don't, this cycle will keep perpetuating itself, and it's just not going to go anywhere resolved.
My man, you came in with a gas of smoke. You blew the place up, man. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you guys for everything you do as well.
That was amazing.
Thank you, man.
That was amazing.
Man, what do you think? Your final words, you and I think that's amazing.
He really did. I'm just going to touch up quickly on what he was saying about the strong black woman narrative. I believe that that's something that we've been taught in our communities. We're strong black women. You're just supposed to take what is given onto you, even by your own men in your community, and then you're just supposed to continue going. And what that really does is just makes us resentful of our men, because once you're taking it on by these men, because I acknowledge that they are hurt as well, but if I have to be strong every single time you keep projecting your own pain onto me, I would eventually start to hate you, because I will become resentful. I'm human, I'm flesh and bone. And I feel like as black people, it's time for, this might be another conversation altogether, but it's time to start to break down, or start to talk about why we should just be perceived as strong people because we're black women. It's what he said about, say, if a white woman was crying, everybody would run to her and be like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" But if it was a black woman, you just expect her to, keep it moving. So that's
Yeah.
something that we need to address as well. And another point I would like to make is about perception. I'll take it back to the hair situation. I don't know if you remember in Nigeria, but what we call these natural hairstyles, we call them like Sade Adu. I
Yeah.
forgot the name.
Anita Baker and all them things.
Yeah, like Ipako and
And
stuff
the
like
Anita
that.
Baker one is a rap.
Yeah,
I know.
we need to start to make these things more appealing, because when you talk about weaves, a girl will tell you she easily needs a lot of money for weaves, but when it comes to natural hair, she doesn't know what to do with it, so she will tell you, oh, you know, even the perception of doing natural hair is like, oh, it's cheap, you can just go and meet yeah boss it, you know, she'll do it for you. So we need to start to change that narrative and understand that our own requires money, and it requires effort as well, and we need to start to change that perception and make people feel more comfortable when they wear their natural hair, even if it's patewa or I forgot the other names. I should have asked my mom.
Yeah, it's quite a few of them.
Yeah, we need to start to change the perception. But
Shuku. Somebody said Shuku.
yeah, exactly. We need to start to. I don't know if we have to update it. I feel like it's beautiful. It's a classic, but we need to basically change the perception, because if I'm sure a lot of men will tell you that if they see a girl wearing weave and they will see a girl wearing Sade Adu, they will say that she's old school for wearing Sade Adu. But the weave girl is the one wearing the weave is the new up to date trendy one. So we need to start changing those perceptions in our own community as well. He said it, to be honest. I don't feel like I need to say a lot because he basically hit the nail on the head. He was amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So on that note, I think my own final note before we wrap up now, I mean, close off for the day is we have to unlearn, relearn, you know, educate ourselves, and just basically educate our minds. You know, I have a ton of respect for the struggle of my people. I understand. I'm, like I said over and over, I'm thoroughly aware that, you know, we're faced with glass ceilings. We're faced with daily microaggressions, and, you know, a lot of energy goes into trying to survive, trying to be accepted, trying to, you know, what your white counterpart doesn't even have to sweat. You have to work 4 or 5 times as hard just to get through a door. I get all that, but I think the very important thing is, do not, the best thing you can do for yourself, regardless of the size and complexity of you know, the challenges that you face or you're faced with, do not part with your identity. Do not change your name. Do not bend over for anybody. Do not break yourself down to please anybody. Don't allow yourselves to be consumed by inferiority complex. And finally, don't allow for, we need to do away with, like that gentleman is Kaizo, as said, self-sabotage is actually a lot more dangerous than the external attacks that we deal with. You know, within the Black community, the whole idea of colorism, you know, sexism, and tearing ourselves down, that we're not good. I've always said it. We are our own best assets. So that's me done. Massive thank you to everyone for the super chats, for those that have contributed, you and especially, and for everyone who's been on the live stream. Thank you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's been amazing. Share the videos. And if you watch this as a playback, join the conversation in the comment section. And I hope to catch you in the next video. Peace and love, man. Bye-bye.